Warning.
Watch very closely now. 3, 2, 1. Bzzz-down. Check that out.
The following podcast features terrible jokes.
You know you can use Hot Wheels cars when you need to make a saving throw in D&D? Every car is die-cast.
Usually about board games.
We want the fun. Gotta have that fun.
Must insist that no one attempt to recreate any joke performed on this podcast.
We had less technical issues than $1 million company.
All right!
This is Boards and Swords.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Boards and Swords. This is a podcast featuring bad jokes, good folks, and some tabletop games. I'm one of your hosts. My name's Chris Renshaw, and I'm going to slide over there to my partner in crime, Mr. Philip Herbig.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Monday night.
Just like you had to think about it there for a second.
End of the first day of your week there, folks. You've made it. 4 more to go.
Philip looks like this is like the 5th day of his week, but I know it's his day off, so... So you just probably look like you just woke up for the first time earlier.
I was up at 10
PM or AM?
Yes.
Joining us this week, we have Ted and Rebecca Wysocki from TNT Laser Works here with us. How are you doing?
Very well. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty well. So you wouldn't know it by that there was a podcast or not because it's still not technically up yet. But Nova Open happened, and that was a thing that you'll someday see on YouTube once it uploads. But we're back with. I mean, I have all my 10 fingers and toes. I don't know about you, Philip.
I had an 11th one for some reason.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you got the one that was missing.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but at said convention, we actually managed to both play a game for the first time, which is a rarity. Mm-hmm. And that is Sage Stones. So, but first, why don't you tell us a bit about, because you didn't just jump in with the board gaming. You've been doing other laser work stuff in general. And just for everybody to know, we're going to flip things a bit, and we're going to do news at the end.
Yeah, so we started out actually making, well, if we go all the way back, the company started basically so I can make shims for space satellites. So we have the side of the business is actually making little metal shims that go into satellites. So that's what pays to keep all the lights on and all that kind of stuff. But for fun, I decided to start making like game accessories. So we used to manufacture like acrylic sandwich dials that you would use for tracking like command points in games and stuff like that. And then kind of just in the, being in the world of making game accessories, we started making other things, boxes for holding miniatures and trays for like moving army miniatures around and stuff like that. All sorts of products. We're kind of getting all over the place, and a lot of those did really well. And we had traveled to lots of different conventions and things like we had done PAX Open and Origins and all those kind of things with those products. But for fun, we decided we were going to kind of revive an old board game I used to play as a kid, and I decided that board game with me to PAX Unplugged one year, and I had brought 3 prototype versions of it. Which looked very similar to the one behind me, and ended up selling 6 of them. So, so we actually had back orders the first time I ever showed it to anybody. And so ever since then, just the excitement level for the board game has been so much greater than what we were doing with basically taking over.
Nice. So you said that. So is it a game from like? You were talking about like bringing back an older game. Like, did you make it back then, or is this like something that's been around and you just put your own spin on it?
Yep, it's something that was around back in the 1980s. We put our own spin on it. The company that used to make it is no longer in business, so nobody's making this game. And even when it was being made, random like one print run thing. I don't even know how my family played it all. And so when my kids got old enough to be able to 10 on their fingers. I decided I was going to go find the old board game and play it with them. and the old board was the board was all moldy. It was up in the attic. So the board was just destroyed. So I was like, well, I guess that's that, or I can make my own. So we decided, like, let's experiment with making our own version of the game. Sticking points was that we don't want it to mold, right? Like, we want it to be around forever. Like,
Right.
grandkids. So we decided to make these heirloom quality. And that's where it all started. And then from there, just like with the game accessory thing, people see it and they say, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool?" And it's like, well, okay, we can do that. I mean, why not, right? And so now we're expanding things and growing things and doing, and it's all centered around Sage Stones now.
So how would you summarize the game for someone? Like, how would you pitch the game to somebody?
Oh, so my 2-minute elevator pitch. The first line is always it's complicated. So it's a very basic, very slow rule set type of game. It is meant for people who are either getting into board games for the first time, or even for people who really like playing lots of different board games, but just want something that's a little light and a little more beer and pretzely. The like kind of description of it is it's a dice rolling piece placement strategy game, and the more you play it, the more you actually is a lot of crazy strategy going into it, even though there's some very basic rule set to it.
It's very easy to learn and hard to master.
Yeah.
Nice. And actually, so how much? Because I'm scrolling through your feed, the boards themselves. Because I know you also work with Gabby over at Brawlful of Sawdust as well, who she's been on the show too. So how much of it is your handiwork versus bringing her on, or was that like after the fact?
So yeah, Gabby makes the boards, the actual wooden portion of the boards. So basically, she's making the cutting board, and then we take it. We use our lasers here, TNT Laser Works. We engrave all of the artwork into them, and then we do the hand pouring of all the resin. We do the resin, clean that up, and then do a clear pour over the top of that, and then we also all that. So Gabby's making the wooden portion of it. All of the artwork is ours. All of the engraving is ours.
Gotcha. Hey Ted, can I actually have you drop from the Discord and come back? Because it keeps dropping you every few seconds on your audio.
Oh, okay, sure. So you want me to just leave and come back?
Yeah.
Let's see, I got a disc. All right. Turn the camera back on.
Yeah, it was just like, for the most part,
How's that do?
most of it was coming through. It was just occasion. It was like it was like I was filtering you with like a bleep button.
That's some mother.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, and it. When did the travel version come into play?
So that was kind of something that was really surprising to me. But even the first time I had shown it at PAX Unplugged, my goal was always to make it really, really pretty, something that you'd want to hang on the wall at home. You'd be proud to have in your house. And then, oh, by the way, there's kind of an okay game attached to it. It turns out a lot of people actually like the game, and we're not necessarily interested in the artwork part of it, which was kind of a surprise to me. I don't know why, but it was. So we had a lot of people who were like, hey, if you had a lower cost version of this game, we would make it, or we would buy it. So we're like, okay, well, let's do this, right? Like, we've had enough people tell us that lower cost is worth doing. So what do we want to do, right? And of course, immediately the horror story of the original cardboard version comes to mind. We didn't want to make that. We don't want to make the cardboard version. And we always wanted it to look like it was something that you would find in like a fantasy tavern, or at the inn, when you're coming, off of a hard day of, exploring the forest. So we wanted the board to look like it belonged in a fantasy setting. And so the scroll idea came up, just kind of like, if we're not going to make it out of cardboard, what are other options, right? And leather kind of immediately comes to mind as an option. We're just printing something on some sort of medium, and then the scrolls were kind of just like the natural next step, because we had some like scrolls around that were meant for like role playing games, right? That have pockets on the ends that you're supposed to unroll it and roll your dice on this play mat essentially. So we're like, well, let's see if we can get our stuff printed on the inside of it, and that's exactly where that idea came from. And we were able to get it down to a price point that people were like, yeah, this works. It's a lower cost, but it's not like just doing a cardboard version of it. So
Yeah, I feel like it's. Sorry, go ahead.
Easy to travel with too. So that's why we had some customers who rented, or they didn't want to have artwork, and a lot of them were rentals and stuff like that, and they're like, we aren't allowed to put things up, and it wasn't something they were interested in, or they said they traveled quite a bit to pubs or wineries or things like that, and they just liked, like Ted said, they liked the game but weren't necessarily interested in the heirloom quality, and so this fit the needs for those individuals.
Do you ever have anybody like, especially I feel like this is like a Nova only thing, but maybe on some board games too, where someone like balks at the price, because it is pricey compared to like a regular board game, but then you want to be like, listen, how much did you just spend on at the GW store?
So to be fair, like yes and no, right? So some people, I think people who have the frame of mind of like what you just explained, like I just go and I just went and spent $270 on a couple of Night Titans in GW, right, or one Night Titan. They can see that what we're doing is something that is meant to be around like the rest of your life, right? Like this is a thing that you're going to have and is going to be visible and around for use. Constantly and forever. And some people are like, I just dropped $175 on like Gloomhaven and we played it through the one time and now it's just collecting dust on the shelf, right? So some people see it, most people I would say see it that way. There are a few people who are just like, $275 now. Just keep right on walking.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people say it's definitely worth it. They say it's beautiful. I would love to have it. I wish I could afford it. And then they are happy that we have the scroll version. But very rarely do I ever run across anyone who does not think it's worth the price. They usually are very, very forthcoming with enjoying the quality. A lot of woodworkers really appreciate the quality that is in the pieces. So
yeah, and we kind of get pleasantly surprised too. When we came out with the scroll version of the game, I was really concerned that people are going to be like, "Oh, I'm getting a cheaper version. We're never going to sell any more boards." But there's actually more than a handful of people who buy both. Like, I'm very like, "What? You want both?"
Yeah.
They're like, "I want to travel with this one and keep this one at home." I'm like, okay. So
yeah. Rosabito points out the scroll is less than 5 basic Space Marines.
There you go. Yep.
sometimes we have people who get a board first and then they come back and they're like, we want the travel version, or they buy them for gifts for family members and things like that, which I think for me is one of the most heartwarming thing, is that you want to share our game with our family. You want to continue that circle, and you feel like it's such, I don't know, that it's valuable enough in their lives to put it into someone else's lives that they love. So
I could see that also in a sense of like, I spent this morning on this nice board. I want to hang it up, and then I don't want to mess it up, so we'll play on the travel one.
yeah.
So we had a comment about GF plans for other laser edge cut products now, because that part might have gotten missed. Was you have made other products, and you're actually moving away from, at least that's what you were talking about at Nova, like a lot of the game accessories parts, to focus more on Sage Stones, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, part of what we're doing, we're not trying to recreate the wheel here, right? Like, we're publishing our own board game, and that's cool and all, and Catan's been published for the last 30 years. Why not Sage Stones, right? So we're kind of trying to really put I don't know, putting our eggs in one basket, but like we've made a lot of stuff. Like we've been at this for 11 years now. Like we've been to lots of conventions. We've been to PAX Unplugged for the past 8 years, right? Like since they started. And what we've done in the past is really kind of like make spaghetti and throw it at the wall and see which one sticks, right? Like what can we find that people really enjoy? And the level of excitement around this game is so much more than anything we ever did with gaming accessories.
Right.
And we just keep exploring this, right? Now on top of that, I started this because I enjoyed the game as a kid, right? Like there's my, you know, it's almost cliche to use the word passion, but
passion was the word I was thinking. It sounded like.
Right, like this is something that I've always enjoyed since I was little, and you know it's so much fun to bring it back, and it's fun to be part of it and think of new things to do with it. There's just all sorts of like it's more fun for me,
right?
So it's kind of like, you know, as long as there's people out there that think this is a fun game and they keep purchasing it, then there's no reason to stop. Like we'll just keep playing with this. And if I get a spare 5 minutes, I'm not going to spend it thinking, well, what's the next thing that we can do? I'm going to spend those 5 minutes thinking, how can I make Sage Stones better, right? Like what's next for Sage Stones? So, you know, and we're trying to kind of follow the industry. There's always something new we're trying to come out with or talk about, or, you know, those sorts of things. And so, yeah, I mean, we have all sorts of future plans, and every time we sit down to say, okay, what's next, we find 3 more. So,
all right, Philip. You got a chance to sit down and play. What did you think?
Yes, I did. I mean, the instructions were easy. It was real quick to figure out. You rolled the dice, you placed your stone. Or you place your, I don't know what, I think it was a cloud. I don't remember what it was.
yeah, we do have the meeple set too. That's like the token set that has the shapes as well as the stones. But
yeah. And it went quickly.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for, we were like walking around and we wanted other people to get in there, so I was like, can we go again? that was a great game. Like, let's do this. Let's keep going.
Yeah, that was the thing where I was there with our friend John, and that was where you were doing the what's the drunken version?
Ted Salty Rocks.
Yeah, where that was like the event that night, but we were coming back from getting food and just like sat down, and John's like, I don't know how to play. I'm like, here, let me explain it to you in 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's 30 seconds.
Yeah. Which has been very refreshing, because nowadays so many games you have to watch a YouTube video, you have to really do your research, you really have to read a lot of instructions, and you still make mistakes. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of been what a lot of people have really enjoyed, is because you can sit down. Everyone's very engaged in the game because everyone understands the rules. You don't have one individual telling all 6 of you at the table how to play the game and what you should be doing. And so that really has been refreshing for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's also like, what was that?
I know, I see Philip down there just kind of nodding.
So years ago, when I was in high school, our Bible study group, we had the German version of Monopoly, and only myself and the Bible study leader's daughter could read and understand German. So we would just make stuff up.
That's the best.
What's this card say? It says everybody owes Philip and Katie $100. Yeah, that's what it says. I'm sorry, that's what it says.
No, I had a little girl at Nova Open. She probably 9, maybe 8. She's playing Sage Stones, and one of the rules in Sage Stones is if you roll triples of any digit on the dice, so 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, you get to go again. And she rolls the triples, and I said, well, you get to go again. And she says, well, why do I get to go again? I said, well, because the rules say if you roll triples, you go again. She said, well, didn't you make the rules? I said, well, yeah. And she's like, so then you said I can go again. I'm like, yeah, that's right. I say you can go again. So that was the whole thing for the rest of the game. Is like, you can go again because I said so.
Because I said so. It's my game, and I.
Kids are the most fun to play it with because they pick it up and they don't care who's winning or losing as long as they can take one of their parents' piece off the board.
Yeah, they're brutal.
They just love it.
Savages.
Yeah, it's I tend to find that if the game works well with it's like the go-to comparison of will it work with drunk people, then it will probably also work with children.
Yes.
That's a fair point.
Yes.
Yeah, it does work well with both.
It does. Yes. Yep.
Because it's like anytime I see, or like Haba games are great for that, where it's like this is a really great kids game or a really great game to play at the end of the night when you've had one too many.
Yep. Yeah.
And then we didn't even get to play the expansion, which seemed even more up Philip's alley.
Yeah. So kind of going along with that, always thinking of the next thing. Part of the fun of coming up with a board game is like all of the things that you think you want to try and do but don't work out or play really weirdly or just all the stuff that hits the cutting room floor, right? So we decided for an expansion it would be fun if we took the stuff off the cutting room floor and put it on a card. And then you shuffle the cards and you draw one and you get to play a new rule for the game that's not standard part of the rules. So like in the case of the boards, and I don't know, I'm trying to think of like one of the simple ones is play with less pieces, right? So the game's much, much faster because you're playing with less pieces. One of the other ones that's really easy to explain is if you roll a 1, 2, 3, which normally is skip a turn. In this version of the game, it's not skip a turn. You do put a piece on the board. But if you fill up the 6th column with pieces, you wipe the board. It's a nuke. It's a start. So if you're not winning, it's a valid strategy to try and fill up that center board and have a wipe and start over. So there's 13 different rules in this deck of cards. All of them are kind of like variations on like things we tried either while developing it or just stuff we came up with while actually developing this expansion to have just more stuff in it. So, but yeah, we that's hopefully we're releasing that at PAX Unplugged this year. So
nice.
that's our deal.
That's in the works.
Yeah, it's in proofing right now. So we've been working on it for over a year. It's crazy how long it takes for some of these things.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah, I mean the initial idea when we started pitching the idea, I mean just inside our little group, was I have the first presentation that I gave pitching the idea, and it was in September of 2024. So,
wow.
Easier every time we do another add-on or another idea because we've gone through the growing pains of the first one. The next one is easier for us to maneuver through.
Yeah.
So as kind of self-pioneering into this busy space, what's like one of your biggest lessons learned from the original making of the game?
Oh man, so I will tell you right now, the absolute biggest lesson learned on publishing my own board game has absolutely nothing to do with the board game. It's all the marketing.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like if I take this product and I put it in somebody's hands, they enjoy it. Like they truly do. Like a large number of people who play the game, who demo the game with us, will purchase the game. They will talk about the game. They'll come back and tell us how cool the game is. People like the game. Unfortunately, there's not like 3 million of me to go out and hand it to everybody and do demos, right? So the real trick is how do you tell people about it, even just to get them to come over and play the demo, much less like outside of a 60,000 person convention, there's 380 million people in America. How do I put this in front of them in a way that makes them understand what I'm trying to sell, right? And that's what it is. We're no longer manufacturing a game. We are marketing a game. That's what we're doing. Yeah.
I have no idea what that's like.
It's a different world, man. It is. Like if you would have all of the things we're doing now, I don't know anything about, which is why I have talented and amazing people who work for me because they all know what they're doing.
And that's what you have kids for, right? You could be like, what do I need to be doing differently on the TikToks?
You laugh, but my son's YouTube page has more followers than mine does. So, yeah, that's the thing.
That's not live. That's just facts. So, have you done like what kinds of things have you done to try and like get? What's some of the more unique things that you found that you wouldn't have thought of beforehand to like get people's interest in it? Like, have you tried doing stuff as like game libraries at cons? Like,
So
say,
yeah, we every convention we go to, we do donate copies of the game to game libraries. We are in like there's a company out there called Double Exposure.
oh
They
yes,
track conventions, and they generally, their big claim to fame is running the play to win board game section. So it's basically like you sign up, and if you play the game, like you check the game out like a library, you play the game and then check it back in, and then at the end of the convention they basically raffle off the game to anybody who played it, right? So if 10 people played it, you're 1 in 10 chance you're going to win it at the end of the convention, right? And so they do that at conventions all over the country, like hundreds of them, literally. So that's one of the things we've done. We did pay an influencer to get mead from a local meadery and then get a whole bunch of podcasters drunk and play our game. That was fun.
that sounds great.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was fun. We
Yeah.
did that at Origins. And that was
fair.
an attempt to like kind of get the word out, and like just get people like you guys like to engage with it and just decide if they like it or not and that kind of stuff. So we've done that. That's one of the more weird marketing things we've tried.
Yeah, but it's always
right
funny
now
how much those end up working.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like it's one of the things that's gonna like that pops up in marketing is it's so nebulous as to what your real return is, right? Like I don't put $1 in and get $2 out. Like that's not how marketing works, right? Like it's a thing where like I go spend a bunch of money to get myself in a magazine ad that gets somebody to like click on our Facebook page once, they start following our Facebook page, and then when we make the video about a holiday special, they buy something, right? But they would have never got to that holiday special unless they saw the magazine, which I didn't get anything for, right? And so it's so difficult to like measure what's working and what's not working, and it's a crazy, we're learning.
The one thing I can really put a metric on what's working is when we are at conventions, how organic it grows, because people see it at public gaming spaces or at hotels, and people will come back the next day. Oh yeah, my buddy and I were playing this with some other people at a table, and we really loved it, and they come up and they purchase it from us. We don't even need to do a demo. They know they like it right off the bat because they played it with someone else. And so that's one way that, I think again that's just a proud moment just to see how it organically grows on its own.
Yeah,
It's got that curb appeal where like it's big and it's beautiful, so like people stop, and then you get that like stop and back up, like what's going on over here?
And it's everyone's engaged, and I think when you see 6 people all doing something and they're all engaged in that one game, you're like, what are you doing? It's intriguing instead of everyone just kind of waiting for their turn.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people have been drawn to it, both watching other people play and themselves.
And and I think this is by design, but it's also one of those games that you can play with, I'm gonna go normies here.
Yes.
Like you can't break out like I've broken out some board games before, but there's always that like I've gone too far and like put a too complicated of a game on the table and like, all right, time to dial it back.
Yeah, I'm an engineer, right? So the keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Is a real thing, right? Like it's sometimes less is more, and this is one of those cases where the bottom floor of Sage Stones is fun. Like you just pick it up, do your thing, it's fun.
Yeah.
Now you can go and do all these other things like the expansion I mentioned, and we have like meeples to like change the pieces up, and there's some other things coming that are in the works that just add to it. But if you just play with the base thing, it's great. You don't need to add anything to it. So
And I'd say part of the reason we call the boards an heirloom game is not only because it will be around forever and a day, but it also is something that all generations can sit at Thanksgiving or Christmas or any holiday, and you can have anyone from 6-year-old grandchild to 96-year-old grandma, and they can all play the game together because all you have to do is roll the dice and pick a spot to put your piece. And so everyone can feel like they're having fun and they're engaged in the game, no matter what their level of strategy is.
Yeah, there's definitely like a category of games for that too, where it's, or it's like for me with my family, it'll be like, say you're out holidays, you're running around to different families, households, whatever. You get home at the end of the night, but it's not like the end of the night. It's only maybe like 7, and it's like nobody wants to go to bed, but we're all just brain dead. So like for us, that would always be, we would pull out strike, because that's just throwing dice into like a bowl basically. But I feel like that's where this kind of game comes in. It's like I can just turn the brain off and I just roll dice and put something on a board.
Yep. No, it is definitely that. And you get as much as you put in. I mean, there's definitely a strategy. There's a skill to it. I've played a lot of Sage Stones, and I generally win the games that I play. But it's also a dice game too. So every now and again, somebody can just run away with it, even if they're not paying attention. So.
Yeah, and that's kind of fun at conventions because you see all varieties of gamers. You see people who are coming up like, what is this? A lot of times I find gamers bringing their significant others over because they feel like this is a game that they can play. And their significant others are like, yeah, I would play this game with you, and then what's interesting is watching those significant others learn as you play. You're like, why are you putting your pieces on the end over there? There's a reason for that, and then we watch these non-gaming individuals learn strategies just through participation.
Yeah, we were at Gen Con, and we had a definitely elderly gentleman. I'm not going to call him old. We're going to say elderly gentleman. Kind of wandering through the hall, and he's just kind of looking around. And we're like, "Hey, do you want to come play a game?" He's like, "Nah, I'm here with the family. I don't play games. I got nothing. I don't want anything to do with this stuff." I'm like, dude, you're just walking around. Just come hang out for a couple minutes. I guarantee, you'll at least put a smile on your face, and you can tell your family you played a game, right? And he's like, "All right, whatever. I'm just waiting for everybody to finish shopping." So he came over, played a game. He's in the middle of demoing it, and his wife walks up, and she's like, "What are you doing?" Like, she's legitimately, like, reacting like, what is going on? Like, somebody's holding a gun to her head or something. And he's like, "I'm playing this game. It's really a lot of fun." And she's like, "You're smiling while playing a game." And she looks, like, legitimately concerned, right? He's like, "Yeah, I'll be done in a minute." He goes back to demoing the game with us. She turns around and immediately buys a board. She's like, I want that one, the one he's playing on. I don't care what it costs. Just give me the board. The only game I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, that stuff happens. Like this, it is that easy that you can't have people that don't play games actually enjoy playing it.
They really do.
What was it like? Because you spoke about Gen Con, whereas like I know there was a lot of talk about some of the bigger publishers not going this year for various reasons. And that did seem to open up more to smaller companies that had been like on the wait list forever. And that was my understanding, is that you were one of those companies this year. So what was that? How was that kind of going to, I mean, one, if not the biggest board gaming convention in the US?
All I can say is that it's panic and fear and panic. We got invited, like, we apply. So, we've been applying for years, right? You apply in like January in order to, get, actually like October, they make their decisions in January, right? So, you put your application in like late January, early February, like, "Oh, sorry, you didn't get in. Thanks for applying. Your stuff looks cool." So you're like, "Okay, well, I got the rest of my year to plan whatever I want to do," right? We got a email that literally sounded like a phishing scam.
Yeah.
That's like, and we got this email on like June 13th,
Ooh.
right? So if you do the math, like
So you were
Gen
like
Con-
at Origins.
first week of August,
It
right?
was the Tuesday morning.
It was a Tuesday morning. We were jumping in the car to go to Origins.
Yeah, I was making emails.
Yeah, I got an email at like 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, I was awake. 4:30 in the morning. That was like, act now, get your booth, click this link to immediate, first come, first serve, don't delay. I'm like, this, it's gotta be a scam. Like, no way that somebody would write this email. But we, the guy's name is in the bottom, and we go look him up, and it's like the Gen Con guy, and the guy that's in charge of all the booths and stuff. And the email is gencon.com. So we're like, all right, just in case this is real, let's just reply and then just make sure like we notify the FBI that we're getting scammed or something. I don't know. so we reply to this email, and then sure enough, it's like 24 hours later we have an invoice hit our inbox that's like, pay now and you can get into Gen Con. We're like, okay.
Yep.
Don't be a scammer. and we got in. So as far as like what it was like, it was just like it was just sheer panic. Like we were not prepared, right? I mean, we've done a lot of conventions for many years.
We were organized panic because we were already going to Origins. We've done PAX and Pug. Those were also big conventions that take a lot of organization and things like that. And so I think the team knew that it was going to be a different type of beast of a convention, but we were a well-oiled machine already, so it was just a little bit of an upgrade.
When they sent us the invite to get a booth, the marketing stuff had already expired like 2 weeks earlier. Like we couldn't get any marketing stuff done at all. No magazines, no
nothing.
Floor stickers, no image on the big jumbotron and Lucas Oil Station, nothing. We couldn't get on any marketing, so we were literally just like showing up with our name in like on the map, like the online map. I don't even know if it got in the guidebook that our booth location. So it was a little crazy. Like we kind of went in, we snuck in like incognito, so the only people that knew we were there are the ones that walked past the booth, so and looked right. So.
All right. Well, like I said, I know Rebecca's got to get to getting kids to bed, so we can let her go, and then we can jump back into talking about some news, and then if we have time, come back and we can talk some more.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you for sparing some time with us.
Yes. When you hear crying, it's only because they don't want to go to bed.
What? Kids don't cry, right? That's not how they work.
Oh man.
All right, Philip, it's time for some news.
News.
Eventually, someone's gonna make booster packs of cards with weed gummies inside. It'll be the first collecta-edible card game.
Ooh.
So, this one kind of shocked me in that, like, GameStop is doing well, apparently. Like, it seemed like for years the trend was like, GameStop is failing.
Well, yeah, and then everyone screwed around with the stock, and then somebody got their act together and made it better.
Well, no, it's more of Pokemon became like $1 million or like $1 billion more of a thing than it was before. Because a big jump in collectible sales for GameStop in its fiscal year Q2 helped drive the company to new levels of profitability, up 63% over category sales in the same quarter a year ago. So that's, last year at $139.4 million to $227.6 million. So, and collectible,
that's not too shabby.
Collectibles includes merch, TCGs, and the company's, because remember they do the graded cards now too.
Oh, that's right. So they're getting a little bit of a kickback's the wrong word. Processing fee. That's what it is.
Well, that and they also sell the graded. Like, not only I think you can take your cards there to get graded, and like they send them to PSA or whatnot. But like I think that you can also buy graded cards there as well. Yeah, so 23.
So I probably should treat my cards a little better right here on the desk.
23.4% of GameStop sales, which actually that seems low to me, because it feels like who's buying games at GameStop these days?
Exactly. Well, those of us who are realizing that, oh shit, we're only licensing our games from Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, I guess I shouldn't have been too surprised by all this because there's been like several Fridays now where I will be driving by and there is like a line outside the GameStop that I haven't seen since StarCraft 2 was released. Like people like waiting by the door, for the GameStop to open. And I'm like, what is happening? And then I go, oh wait, it's a Pokemon release date. Because that craze is still like there's like I will go to our local shop and then there'll be people walking in like, oh, do you have this Pokemon? Like we are sold out of everything for that set. So it's amazing what a couple of years to do. It feels like that stock jump thing was the pivot point. Like I feel like if that hadn't happened, they would have never made it to this point. Like we would have never have gotten to the
got people talking about them.
That and also just the influx of cash at the right moment,
The only thing worse than not being being talked about is not being talked about, right? So.
Right. People have remembered GameStop was a thing. GameStop is Pop Stop next time. All right. Moving on. What do you call it when legendary heroes don't really seem like dateable people? They give you the myth ick. So I was laughing about this when you were talking to myself when you were talking about like how long it takes games to like come to market.
Yes.
So Mythic Games' doomed board games change hands once again as CMON sells more IPs. So in the ever evolving saga of CMON woes, we got to remember that CMON has bought up games that failed from other companies and that they still haven't produced. So now they've failed like doubly over. Anastyr and Hell, the Last Saga, they acquired those 18 months ago from Mythic Games, who failed to deliver the titles to backers for several years, which somewhat was as they were supposed to be in there as early as 2021. So that means it was probably like funded back in like 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
So, and then failed to deliver the titles. Responsibility for this now been passed over to the French publisher Don't Panic Games. They first made headlines in 2023 when it asked backers of Darkest Dungeon and Six Siege board game to provide additional funds to receive pledges they had already paid for. Yeah, I remember that. Or it was like, hey, we have your games. If you want them, you need to pay us more money. So, Anastyr was meant to fulfill in 2021, and Hell the Last Sage was meant, or Sage or Saga? They like definitely, on this article, they definitely put both. Either one was expected in 2023.
I like Sage better.
Yeah, you would. At the time of the acquisition, CMON was unable to estimate when the titles would be completed. The company did, however, promise existing backers a free copy of the base game they paid for. Given the quality of the games produced by this publisher, their experience and high standards, we are not only reassured, but certain that this new version of Hell Anastyr will live up to your expectations, Mythic Games said at the time. Fast forward, and nope. So, now that they've been reacquired by another person, Don't Panic Games says, we've always had a special fondness for these two exceptional titles. We were already collaborating with some of the original creators, hence the fact that we have decided to take over these highly anticipated games and make sure that they come to existence. Yeah. It is also...
I wonder how does it work? Like, are they buying IPs that have a current Kickstarter going that's unfulfilled? Like,
yes,
how does that work?
that is exactly what has happened. So, like,
So
Mythic.
I want to buy this game that we already owe thousands of people copies of. So like, do they pay you to take the game? It's like, I don't. How does that work?
Yeah, so it's Mythic Games ran the Kickstarters, funded the Kickstarters, started development on the games, and then in 23, like they sold the rights to CMON, and that's where CMON was like, "Don't worry, if you backed it, you're still going to get a copy. We're taking over development and whatnot." And now they've sold it. They've sold it to Don't Panic Games, and that's where people are saying like, "Am I still going to get my game?" Because Don't Panic has no, they have no commitments to the original Kickstarter backers. Like,
Yes, I gotta ask. Like, is Don't Panic? Did like they start the game? Like the company's name, Don't Panic. Did they start that just so they could buy this thing from somebody
that is very funny.
and still get your copy?
Yeah. And I mean, it's entirely, I mean, they say that we were already collaborating with some of the original creators. So it's possible that like these were people not involved with Mythic that were also involved with the game. And so when CMON started having trouble, like they're like, well, the only way this game's going to come into being is if we just do it, because CMON's already like fishing around every other game. So they thought like they probably, it's probably one of those like passion things where it's like they had an investment in the game and it's the only way that they saw of it coming to light.
Crazy. I just hope all the backers get their stuff, right? Like, I mean, that's the ultimate goal. I hope it doesn't take 5 years, but
Right.
we're already 4 in, right? So
Yeah, but you got to wonder like where is the thing in production? Like that's a long time, you know. Like it's clearly not at ground zero. Like some development work has gone on. There's probably been pre-production copies at least made. You know.
Yeah. I'm sure it's Steve who won't do spell check on his part of the edit, so he's holding it all up. It's in his inbox.
I mean, if I had to guess, my guess is probably that it's ready to go, and just CMON didn't have the money to give to the Chinese, companies to hit. Okay, now print, because that would just be terrible. Plus with tariffs and everything these days, like I feel like it's got to be like with all that development. I would hope that that it's probably somewhere near that. Yeah, Rushbeetle said I had a similar issue with Fantasy Miniatures Kickstarter. The company failed, sold the project to another company, and then they sent me the STLs of the minis for free. Yeah, this is a very common story of like like company X fails, company Y comes in, swoops in, buys it up, and then it's usually expected that they that they will then honor the backers. I don't know if I've anybody that hasn't, but it's usually
I'm not a huge Kickstarter type guy. Like I've done my share of games on there, that's for sure. But it's not like I have constant, fulfillment stuff coming in my house. So I haven't heard of this kind of thing happening before. But I guess I'm not surprised it happens, right? Some of these things take so long to fulfill.
Right. This is just this is the first time it's happened twice, where it's like company Y comes in to swoop in, and then company Y goes down, and company Z has to.
If I had a nickel for every time this thing happened, I'd have 2 nickels.
Yeah. Like, that's the award I want to be known for, right? I want to be the IP that failed twice.
Yeah. He says if he wanted the physical minis he would have had to back them again. Okay, so he got the STLs, but he didn't get the actual minis, and he would have had to buy them again. But you're buying it from a different company, which I mean it makes sense. Like that's a lot of money that you can't just let me just give away this for free. And I'm not a charity. This is a business. I got more people got mortgages to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Philip. I know exactly. I just saw Philip's comment about the from someone we had a guest on and take the money and run, and I'm pretty sure I know which game he's talking about.
I check the comment section every few months, and somebody is posting it, like, "Hey, where's my game?"
Yeah, I know, right?
Hey, man, where's my game?
Sorry, my camera died.
Oh yeah, no worries. No, I've done my share of back and Kickstarter stuff, and there is kind of a regular question like, are we going to do a Kickstarter of some kind, right?
Right.
And And I don't know, man. I feel like I kind of like the idea of, if things didn't work out, if I didn't like what was going on, if I got, won $1 million and wanted to move to Tahiti, I could just do it, right? Like
Yeah,
not
nobody's stopping you.
anything, right? Like, so we're the Snapple of the board game world. Like, I don't owe anybody anything. This is all ours. We're just doing our thing, and we'll do it as much or as little as we want.
Sorry, apparently my camera really wanted to die.
You know, it's just like, put up a recent photo of yourself at Nova Open or something.
Oh, I've totally done that before. At least for Philip, I have.
Great picture too.
Very photogenic. Yeah, I've seen a few. He does good. You got to find one of those like sweaty Lorton event photos.
Ugh. Don't remind me.
It's only like 95 degrees in the sun. Schlepping swag in the bags.
All right, what the heck?
Maybe it's just really dark in your room.
Yeah, that's got to be it, right?
That's another thing.
Camera's working fine.
Yeah, see, Beatles got the idea. It's Renshaw After Dark.
Yeah, apparently. There it goes. I was also clicking on the wrong setting, and the camera just like disappeared. All right, there we go.
Beatle with the Doctor Who.
There we go. All right.
Yay.
Back in action. Okay. Yes. So, long story short, be careful what you pay for on Kickstarter. I still have a Kickstarter. It hasn't funded since 2017, or hasn't from 2017. That still hasn't delivered, and I know that game's never coming.
Wow.
All right.
People from Star Citizen are waiting to get out of alpha.
Well, at least there's a game, though.
There is a game. It's in alpha 4.3.
All right. Why do skeletons suck at football? Because they don't have the heart. This was news that like literally was coming out as I was driving back from Nova. And that is we're getting a new edition of Blood Bowl.
Oh wow! When's the last time they did a new edition of Blood Bowl?
2020, I think.
Oh, okay, that's more recent than I thought.
Yeah, because they did that's why it's the third season edition. They did the 2016 one, and then I think it was 2020, and then now there's the third season, which they're definitely pulling up the old world vibes here because the core box that is going to come out with Bretonnians versus the Tomb Kings.
Wow, cool. Every time I've wanted to try and play Blood Bowl, I go to like Nova Open or Captain Connor, I don't know, whatever convention.
Yeah.
And I find somebody who's like, I'll teach you how to play Blood Bowl. And then they end up getting into like some finals match, and then they don't have time to show me how to play Blood Bowl. So
every time I like talk about learning Blood Bowl, and then like I play a game and I have to give up halfway because I'm like, I've been here for 3 hours already, and we're only on the first half.
well, I didn't even know it took that long to play it, to be honest.
And the problem is it doesn't. But the problem is like it's one of, for me at least, it's like I know there's a learning curve, and it's like once I get over that hump, it'll be super fast and like I'll get it. But it's just getting to that point is just kind of draining. Because like especially like you look at like Nova, and there are people with like some tricked out boards, and like the game looks super fun.
Cool.
And like
low count, that kind of thing. It's appealing.
Yeah, and like I've played the video game. Like I've gotten my dad to play the video game, and it'd be a lot of fun, especially Blood Bowl 2. I haven't played the third one because I hear it's garbage. But yeah, so it's like a game I've always been interested. I have stuff painted actually for it, but it's like every now and then, it's one of those games that every now and then people are like, we should play Blood Bowl, and I'm like, yes, and then a year later, someone's like, "We should play Blood Bowl," and I'm like, "Let's go."
You're like, I'm still waiting.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let me actually read the. Blood Bowl will be returning for a third season edition packed up with a new starter set that features the Bretonnians clashing with the Tomb Kings of Kimmery. Third edition kicks off with the Breon Barons, an entirely new team for the world of Blood Bowl, going up against the Nekahara Nightmares, who have been awakened from their slumber to relive past glories on the field. So it's basically fantasy humans and fantasy Necrons. Valiant Knights with egos bigger than their helmet crests will be clashing with rock-hard defensive players who are aiming to tombstone you into the turf. When it comes to two teams, never mind, there we go. Let's see. Scrolling through here.
I'm just reminded of Mummies Alive.
New edition means some tweaks to the existing rules, which I feel like the people that I know that are into Blood Bowl, I've been hearing them talk. They were not fans of that second season edition that came out. So there was a few changes in there that I know people didn't like. So hopefully this will be better. Including new inclusion of status markers, because apparently every game has to have status markers now. Heresy came up with like status markers, and now everybody has to. So yeah, you'll have the big box set, the two new teams. And then, of course, like the official rule book, if you're the person that's already got plenty of Blood Bowl teams in there. So, Philip, do you even know what Blood Bowl is? I don't know how much I've talked about it before.
It's here. I'm looking at it. I see. It's rugby. I'm basically thinking.
Yeah. So
it's basically like what a British person thinks American football is, and then they threw some really crazy lore behind it.
Yeah, so like Blood Bowl takes place in the old world technically. Like I'm gonna put canon in quotes. Canon to the original Warhammer Fantasy battles, that basically a bunch of the armies found a football pitch and like some references to American football and just came up with their own version of what they thought it was supposed to be like. And then that's how Blood Bowl came about.
This to like settle scores instead of starting wars. Right?
Yeah.
Like whoever wins Blood Bowl wins, the kingdom or whatever. Like whatever they're fighting over.
So
yeah, I've got Blood Bowl 2 in my Steam library.
I mean, it's pretty cool. I don't understand why they don't reprint Space Hulk. That's just printing money. Well, see, that's the thing, is they do reprint Space Hulk. They just put different names on it every time.
I just spent the last 8 months playing through all of the scenarios of Space Hulk.
Wow.
So it's my favorite game as a kid. Like, I have the first edition version of it when the Space Marines look like beetles.
Yeah.
Terminators, right? And I've had it forever. I've had the third edition printing of it forever. Painted all the models, all that kind of stuff. And I finally found somebody who's willing to play all the missions with me. And it took all summer long. Well, actually, most of spring and summer to play it. So we just finished like after 6 or 8 months of getting together. And that was last week, Wednesday. We finished the last mission in the campaign. And it was very cool. Like, what a great game.
Yeah, I got into the hobby too much after that. Yeah, I feel like it is one of those, Space Hulk is one of those things that they never really officially reprint, but they make, like, there was the End of the Dark set for Kill Team, which was basically, Space Hulk, or like the Necromunda Zone Mortalis, which was kind of Space Hulky.
Yeah, you're right. Like they kind of brush up against it every once in a while, but I don't know. It feels like one of those things where they could have done like, I don't know, like Dark Tower thing, or I mean like a Blackstone Fortress thing, where there were like expansions and add new characters. And, like the original base game is Blood Angels. They could have come out with like bespoke miniatures that were Ultramarines, and then they could have a Space Wolf set, and they could have, you know what I mean? Like you could see. I don't even have to be GW's marketing team, and you can already make their products for them, right?
Yeah, and you wouldn't even need to make different minis. You could have just used existing sprues.
Well, so to be fair, I think it's super, super cool that it came with miniatures that were themed for the board game. Like these are not like I get it. They're like, I don't even remember if they're snapped together, if they were just on a sprue and they didn't even build them. But it is remarkably cool that the miniatures fit the board game. Like they're holding on to Gene Stealer skulls, or they're like ripping up metal from the floor. You know what I mean? Like, and they don't fit on 32 mil bases or 40 mil bases. Like they're meant for the board game. They're smaller.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's very cool, and I would hope if they were to make expansions, they would stick with that. Like it's meant for Space Hulk. Yes, you can take these miniatures, throw them on a base, play with them in 40K, but they were meant for Space Hulk, and I think that's very cool.
I just was saying they wouldn't have to. I mean, like it would
You
still
wouldn't have
still
to.
sell out, and you wouldn't have to make special minis for it.
No, you're right.
Let's see. Getting back to Blood Bowl, more updates will be in the pipeline for Blood Bowl in the coming weeks and months, so keep an eye out for this as your game of choice. I have to say, see. But yeah, so I mean, based on when the announcement is, I'm expecting this is probably a pre-Christmas launch. I would say this is probably, considering like around this time is when they announced this is last year when they announced the new Kill Team version, and that was like an end of October release. I feel like that's when this is gonna drop. So if you've been missing some bloody bowls, then there you go.
Does GW have like one of their open events somewhere?
Dallas, Las Vegas Open.
So maybe there you go. That's where it'll.
Las Vegas Open actually. So it used to be in like January, but they actually moved it ahead. So like there was already a 2025 Las Vegas Open. That's where they showed off the Emperor's Children, the new ones. Yep. There's already going to be a second 2025 Las Vegas Open in October, because they're changing venues, and I think they couldn't get the same time frame or whatever.
Okay.
I heard some people talking about that. They're like, "Oh, we're going to Las Vegas Open." I'm like, isn't it in January? And they're like, "No, it's October or August October this year." All right. What do you call it when you wait in line to ask questions at a live panel? A Q&A. This was one of those stories that was just funny, and I had to I didn't even read the article. It was just funny. But so 6 million Pokemon card collectors join a digital queue for nothing. So wrapping up our talk about like how crazy the Pokemon craze is. So millions of Pokemon fans were caught in a digital queue on the official Pokemon Center website, hoping to snag the delayed Phantasmal Flames set as soon as pre-orders open, only to discover that it still wasn't on sale. Why the Pokemon Company turned on queue management when there was no big product launch is one question. Why Pokemon fans were willing to wait for hours despite no formal announcement of the product being able is another. Well, I can answer that second one. It's because they were worried that scalpers were going to take it, and then...
Yep.
No, you're not wrong.
So anyone attempting to access the Pokemon Center website from around that time on Monday found themselves added to a virtual queue, unable to get in until those in front of them had finished their business. That doesn't sound like not usually how I phrase that when I use that term. A digital. What was that?
They're doing their business.
Yeah,
right?
they're doing their business.
Business done.
Digital queue is a standard traffic, blah, blah, blah. We know what a queue is. Every Pokemon TCG launch is a big product launch, which would typically be activated for a big product launch. So it's not surprising that fans saw this as a sign that the newest Pokemon set was going up for pre-order the same day. The set was originally expected to launch at the end of last week, but missed that window. An updated launch date has not yet been announced. So they reported the queue soon after it appeared, and commenters began chronicling their tedious journeys. Commenters reported that they were number 4 or 5 million in the queue.
Wow.
So this just reminds me of that, you know how many times we've made the joke at Gen Con where it's like if we just started a line somewhere, we wanted to see like how many people would get in the line?
100%.
Like, we've had this comment before, and like here, somebody actually did it. Oh wow, here's how you know Rusted Beetle's old. The last time I waited for a midnight release for something was for Windows 95 at the Nova Micro Center.
That's awesome. Great operating system.
I liked the hover game that came on the disc.
Yeah, my first laptop was a Windows 95 machine.
The highest estimate we heard of came from a friend of the team who found themselves at around 6th millionth place.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
Like the opposite of my problem.
Yeah.
That's too many people.
Strictly speaking, it represents the number of individual computer IP addresses, which would be higher than, because like somebody, it's like I'm going to be on it on my phone, on my computer, on my tablet or whatever. So like that's 3 users right there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you got the all the people that got their AI bot farms probably, spooling up their Amazon Web Services. This is the best part. Like you're 6 millionth in line. You get to the front of the queue and there's nothing there.
Not even like a sold out, right? It's just like...
not even sold out. It was just some plushies and puzzles that had dropped. So like something had dropped. It was just not a big release.
Ouch.
Oh, maybe let me actually close this.
Maybe it was a stress test.
It was it probably was. There you go. It's likely that the Pokemon Company was just testing the queue system.
Is that in there? Oh,
that was literally the next sentence.
See, you know what's up.
Yeah, there's evidence that the launch was delayed because scalpers found an exploit. Oh, no. They found an exploit in the in the website that was allowing them to order stock before it was available. What? No. That's true, and there's a strong incentive to test the website as watertight before resuming the sale, but perhaps the number of people in the queue reflects enormous fleet. Yeah, so this is why like Pokemon goes crazy, is because you get all these scalpers that have all these like bot accounts that just like swoop in and just buy up everything.
That's a really complicated issue, right? Like what's the right scenario? Because like telling Pokemon to just print more isn't really the right answer, right? Because there's like you make this rare little thing and everybody buys it and it's worth tons of money, and you make this kind of middle ground and it's available for a bunch of people, but the scalpers still get it. And then if you make that little bit more, the scalpers are like, nope, and you're left over with this huge inventory that nobody wants, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's almost like a lose-lose. Like you're either gonna tee off your fans because you don't have enough stock, or you're gonna end up with a ton of stock just sitting on the ground. So I don't know what's the answer to that. Obviously, billion-dollar companies don't have the answer for it, right? So
yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like the easy solution is don't buy from scalpers.
Man, I completely agree. It's so tough, though.
I know.
It really is.
I know.
When you're just like, okay, so I could have bought this thing for like $5 in the store, or I can get it for $25 online, and I just have it.
Yeah.
You're like, like I get that that's 5 times the price, but I've got $25. Like it's tough. I get it. I don't buy from scalpers. I've been trying to get into the Gundam TCG. It's been fun to play and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, finding inventory for that is very difficult. But I have not succumbed to the scalper yet, so.
I bought out one of our Walmarts.
You're that guy.
You're the guy. But to be fair, they were for him.
That's why I shop at Target. 2 purchase minimum or 2 purchase maximum.
Yeah, I opened the packs.
And I mean, actually, that Bandai, like, it sucks, but Bandai does have a system that kind of helps in some way against scalpers, because they adjust their allocate. I'm getting all this from our local store, where like with a new game like Gundam, everybody starts off at the same level. And so like the first round is always a problem, and it's like that for every game. But Bandai prioritizes in-store play. So if you are a store that has Bandai Play in your store, you get rated higher than a store that is just selling online, doing whatever.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if they're selling more volume than you are, because you're doing in-store play. You now get ranked a little bit higher, and therefore that store is going to get allocated more than maybe a store that doesn't have like a play space.
Sounds like a good, I mean, I guess, make the scalpers go out to Walmart and buy their stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
make them go to the store. You can't get it online. So I guess it's a solution. I like it.
I mean, Rusted Beetle, if you just want the minis, like our local store has Japanese versions of the Gundam Assemble packs. I think they're like the $30.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, you can find those around here too, the Japanese versions, because they won't let you use the Japanese cards.
yeah, because you can't use the Japanese, which is really funny. That story, this I don't have a good solid resource for, but what I heard was basically like half of the Japanese allocation of the Gundam cards got shipped to America instead of Japan.
Something like that too. I'm nothing official, but like from just on the scuttlebutt, right? And I don't know how that works. I'm not $1 billion company, but I definitely know where all of my inventory is. So
Yeah.
I don't think I'd have a pallet go the wrong place anytime soon.
Right. So yeah, how many scalpers still have Skaven Tide? Oof, that's a low blow.
I'm just missing 2.
You got the whole thing, huh?
I've got 128 out of 130.
What 2 are you missing?
I'm missing card number 1 and what's it? Card number 45, I think.
I have to go look at my stuff if I had them or not.
Meanwhile, I almost have aside from the LRs, I have almost a complete play set of the first set.
Cool.
Aside from the LRs, I think there's still like 2 LRs I don't have also. Or hear me out. I can get into Gen Con with a pallet jack.
That's rough. Too soon.
That was like 3 years ago.
I don't know, man. Like, I need to. So when you're okay, so maybe I have a different perspective on this, right? Because after that happened, like every convention that I had to take my products to, there's like security all over the damn place, and they're checking your badge everywhere, and they won't let you in until you go get your badge first, and like all this stuff happened because of that.
Yeah.
Because somebody walked off with 150 grand worth of magic cards or whatever it was, right? So yeah, for me, it's like it really kind of changed like the back end of a lot of conventions, which I mean maybe rightly it should have, right? I don't know.
They got caught. Like.
They did, right? But
yeah, it was the getting in wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
That's where like you can just walk up to a pallet jack, move a bunch of stuff, and throw it in a truck and drive off. I mean, that was like what they did wasn't. You could do that anywhere. Like it wasn't. Like a lot of conventions just kind of like, hey, you're loading in and loading out. Just do your thing and go get your badge before tomorrow morning when the con opens, right? It's not that way anymore.
Chris was joking. We got there during setup of Unplugged, and there was a guy driving a forklift, and like he parked and got off. He was like, "Hey, Philip, you're certified on that, aren't you?"
Yeah, I've done my time driving forklift as well, and sometimes it is kind of tempting when it's like, I could just move my whole booth in like 30 seconds here. Why am I schlepping all this with my cart?
Then you got unions involved, though.
Oh, no. Yeah, don't touch. No, you know what? You could take that forklift and drive it off the end of a dock and crash it, and that would be less of an issue than the fact that you're doing work that you shouldn't have been doing. If I move a pallet, that's going to be more of an issue than driving that forklift off the end of the dock.
Oh, I get to hear about that working the back end of Nova, where like it's like, you can do all this setup, tear down stuff, but like if you move the table, if you like take the tables and chairs like out of the rooms they're in, that's like, then you get into issues.
That's a super big no-no.
So, all right, one last story here. General Mills should make a massive online RPG featuring all its cereal brands. It'd be the first MMO RPG. So, as I put this in the show notes, file this into the duh column. But according to the Wizards of the Coast president, he would love to have a new D&D MMORPG. So President John Haidt talks about MMORPG ambitions, what's next for D&D, and blurring the digital-physical divide. So is always dropping hints to the development team about a new D&D MMORPG in the wake of forever games like Fortnite or Minecraft, according to a new interview. Of course, it wasn't just MMO fancy on the table. He also discussed the future of D&D, universes beyond, especially a Final Fantasy set for Magic. He hopes that D&D can help players seamlessly transition from playing digitally to playing in person and back again. So yeah, it is you know what?
Beetle's not wrong. It would love to have recurring transactions. The format doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I'm getting at. Of like, yeah, of course you would like to have a reoccurring, consistent funding line.
If you can get the user base to make the content too, that'd be great.
Oh yeah.
Which is really funny because like they mentioned like we've already had one D&D MMO and they talk about D&D Beyond, which I don't like. I remember, but I don't remember it being very good. But like
Still around.
there was a second one because Neverwinter was a MMO for a while as well.
D&D is the tabletop game. But
Or yeah, D&D
yeah, I mean,
Online. Yeah.
as far as like online games, yeah, there was an online D&D. I actually played it quite a bit when it first came out. It was fun, but it was like a grindy game. Less like the MMO part of it was the fact that there was just lots of other people grinding stuff around you. So
Right. But I think it's just funny, like they like from what I remember, I never played it, but from what I remember, like the Neverwinter MMO was pretty was for a game that doesn't end in Warcraft, it was pretty popular and had like a
I don't remember there being an MMO around Neverwinter. I mean, they have Neverwinter was like, they had like a huge mod community for Neverwinter Nights, right?
Yeah.
That was your traditional, like SSR style RPG, like Baldur's Gate style thing. But there was a huge community behind it, right? And it kind of felt like it was an MMO, and that there was a lot of people modding it and doing cool stuff to it. But I don't remember there being an MMO around it.
Well, that it still exists.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing. So this is so based off of that video game series, they made a free-to-play massively multiplayer online developed by Cryptic Studios. It launched in 2013 for Windows, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. Just to let you know how old this was.
Oh, that's right, because it's Cryptic. That's Star Trek Online.
Yes. It's a standalone game and not part of the previous. Okay, not part of Neverwinter Nights. It just takes place in the same city. But yeah, like this is but it is based in D&D. You choose one of the 8 Dungeons and Dragons character classes. It was originally based on a modified version of the 4th edition rule set. So
Oops.
Hey, Wizards of the Coast president, you still have a D&D MMO.
Yeah, just don't use 4th edition, please. And scrap that.
So yeah, in August 2014, they used the Tyranny and Dragons module to bridge the narrative gap between the game and then the recently released 5th edition D&D. So yeah, because I get on the D&D like press release stuff, I would get emails all the time, like anytime there would be like a new D&D supplement or something, there would be like a Neverwinter announcement also fairly well. That's why I remember.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh, I wonder if it's got the caravan in there.
But yeah, like if I go to you can go to playwhatneverwinter.com and you can still sign up. Now, granted, this Neverwinter Red Harvest. So it's the Red Wizards of Thay.
Yeah. Those nasty buggers.
They just need to make the D&D
breath
go
smells
out.
like
We're just playing
laundry.
Tyranny of Dragons right now, so I do a Monday is normally our D&D night, so I had to cancel D&D tonight to be with you guys. So
Yeah. We appreciate it.
We appreciate that sacrifice.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big deal, like we're a dedicated group. We've been at it for about 10 years now, and so. But yeah, we're playing through Tyranny of Dragons right now, and it's been fun.
I'm sorry for you.
So we played Curse of Strahd and then went straight into Chains of Asmodeus right after it, which Chains of Asmodeus was a charity. We always support all the Child's Play charity
Yeah.
stuff, and so that's an adventure that was written to support Child's Play, and it is like literally slogging through all 9 layers of hell. So we did Curse of Strahd and then went straight into that. So my players were like, let's do something that doesn't take a lot of brain power for a few months.
No, I've said multiple times on the show I hate Tyranny of Dragons. Just
You're
Oh,
gonna come to to a caravan.
yes,
Just-
yeah, you're gonna, we did that. There was some
Oh, you
fast
did that?
forward. There was some
Okay.
fast-
Yeah. We spent 3 game sessions in the caravan.
it felt like we spent 6 months in that caravan.
Yes.
Okay, that was like a 1 session explanation from me. That was like, okay, guys, you're gonna be in a caravan for a really long time.
Oh man, I'm so
It did have a bunch of really awesome nat 20s that my character made.
yeah, like
for some
there's some
awesome
that game
storytelling.
that game spawned so many stories, but like it was a slog getting through it.
It was great getting to Waterdeep and then immediately telling everybody the next thing to do is get into another caravan.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you haven't had enough caravans yet.
All right, here we're gonna do like the road trip of the Sword Coast and hit all the famous properties, except for not Neverwinter.
Yeah,
Like
I've had adventures, I've ran adventures that were like kind of trying to do the Lord of the Rings, like the adventure is the journey, it's not the destination kind of thing, right? Like I've ran those and they can be a ton of fun. That's not what Tyranny of Dragons is though.
oh my gosh. So I'm reading a book that for reviewing it. So have you ever seen like the Game Master's Guides book that's like of like random tables or whatnot?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So they have one here. It's collaborative. What was it? Collaborative campaign design that I'm reading, and they talk about like one option is to do travel as a skill challenge instead of like actually acting it out, to where you still get that whole like the impact of the journey, and just like if they get too many failures or whatnot, you can just like say like in the background stuff was happening more, so like maybe you advance the plot lines of the bad guys. I'm like, oh, that is such a better way of doing that.
For Tyranny of Dragons, the first section from Greenest to Baldur's Gate, I did exactly that. And if they did too many failures, they got a random encounter, right? Like, so I didn't roll a random encounter. It was based on how they passed or failed the checks for the travel, right? Which they failed and ended up getting attacked by some bullywugs or something, I think. But yeah, that's definitely a thing. That is a fun way to do travel.
You know, I've just been having on loop here this.
Like, hey, you're gonna roll a survival check. What are you doing on this boat to like make this survival check at advantage? Or, like, what do you do? You know, make them describe like, oh, I'm gonna use a pole to make sure we don't hit the bank or whatever. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And kind of role play out like, how are you making this better? And then just do the roll, and then okay, boom, you're in Baldur's Gate. You know, we didn't have to like role play out 3 days of travel.
And scene.
And see.
Like I've been rolling this stock footage here for Neverwinter in the background. I'm sure that's all that's not actual gameplay footage, but it looks pretty legit.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm kind, especially because I think it's free to play. So I'm
You're like, let's download it and see what, like, do the first 15 minutes, right?
yeah, like yeah. I was just like, it's just really funny. Just this whole article talking about MMORPGs and like that, not even mentioned anywhere. Like you have a D&D MMO, never even brought it up. Now, granted, they're not. It's being licensed out to somebody else, but they already said they were in franchisee mode, to where they're going to be licensing all this stuff out anyways. Oh, you know what? This makes so much sense now. So apparently the new president of Wizards of the Coast used to work at Blizzard. He was general manager during Dragonflight, executive producer during Shadowlands. I don't know if I would go around telling people that, because if you talk to people in World of Warcraft, they hated Shadowlands. And production director during Legion and Battle for Azeroth. So I'd love to have a new D&D MMORPG. I think that we'd want to rethink what an MMO is in this day and age. I think the traditional model that Blizzard, well, even before that Ultima line EverQuest pursued, could use updating. I think in our case, it's probably a crawl, walk, run situation. We want to make sure that we've assembled the talent, that we have the back-end technology, and we have the plans to pursue. Also, I feel like Wizards of the Coast is not the person to do it. Like, you licensed it to somebody, like just like the Neverwinter thing. Just make somebody else do all the work. You just get them sweet licensing fees.
Laramie Studios, what?
Yeah, exactly. Like
what? Like, you want to make a successful D&D game, then don't have D&D do it?
Yeah, exactly. Updating, more transactions. Yep, exactly. Yeah, so back up. Yeah, then and it's so weird because, like, you know, Recipe points out we need a sequel to Honor Among Thieves. Like, there's money laying on the table right there. Like, how many people would go see a sequel to the D&D movie? Like, we had a good D&D movie. How?
And as long as they did it like that too, where it was, because I always tell people about the first scene.
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, it's so great. Like, they do all that crap. And he's like, we were gonna let you go.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Exactly.
that's how this stuff plays out at an actual table.
Yeah.
Your players do all this random shit, and the DM's like, okay, all you had to do was just walk in and say hello.
Yeah. You remember that key you got earlier? Yeah, that worked.
Or again, like Doctor Who. Did none of y'all check to see the door was unlocked?
Yes.
Exactly. No, it was great. There was enough little Easter eggs in the movie. Yeah, they should do another one. Like, just like that. It was great.
Breath smells like old laundry.
But yeah, D&D doing more D&D things. So, yeah, that was your news, and I think that's probably a great place to end the show. I'm all thrown out of whack because we went flipped order.
We went in reverse.
Yeah.
So that's been our show. We want to thank Ted for hanging out with us. Say thank you to Rebecca for us too. She's not back yet. If you like what you see, folks, you got to check us out, boardsandswords.com. You go to /live. It's got the links to our streaming channels and the schedule. And you just check out the website in general. We've got stuff we've done in the past. There's still some links to like tweets from 20 years back that we had up there. It's great stuff. Also, check us out, patreon.com/boardsandswords. You can help support the show. Chris will make dad jokes of all your favorite games. It's horrible and it's great. So help us out.
Hey, how do you know when a joke is a dad joke?
When it's apparent. That's one of my favorites. Also, before we get too far, Ted, if people want to find out more about Sagestones, where do they need to go?
Sure. So it's TNTLaserworks.com. That's a great place to go find everything that we're kind of up to. We also on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all those places we have our stuff. Facebook and Instagram are probably the best place to get like all the latest and coolest stuff. And then we also actually have an Amazon store of all places. So there's that too. You can go check out things there, and we try to keep that up to date and all that kind of stuff too. So
nice. So feedback at boardsandswords.com. That's where you need to go to send us feedback. Who do we need to have on next? And let's see. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I don't know who we've got on. I've sent a bunch of emails out, and I'm in the filling up our schedule thing. So we'll see who will be on. But in the meantime, remember that every gamer has a story, and this one was an heirloom item.